So you are stuck in a rut. You were going good for a while. You were maybe productive, you weren't lazy, and you were actually doing things that you wanted to do. And then all of a sudden you fell off. You might be scrolling endlessly now on your phone. You might be avoiding basic tasks like doing the dishes or vacuuming the house. You might even just be skipping workouts or procrastinating doing the most simplest of tasks. Look, I've been there too. When I came out of ACL surgery, when I tore my ACL a year ago, things were tough. I couldn't walk for about 3 weeks and I was constantly stuck in bed, and I went on my phone. I even jerked the chicken a few times because I was just bored and I just didn't know what to do. And I was stuck. I didn't have that drive and I didn't have that passion on how I wanted to live my life. And I'm just being honest because I know how it feels. I know it sucks. I know it doesn't feel good to be stuck and to be lost. And I know how it feels going from being productive and feeling like you're doing awesome and you're on top of the world to feeling like you're stuck and you can't go anywhere and you're just stuck in the position where you are. So here are 3 steps that I did to help myself get out of the rut and to help myself get back on track with being productive, getting stuff done, and stop freaking scrolling my phone all day. Number 1 step you can do is find a goal. Find something that you can strive towards. Find something that you can attach an outcome to. Whether that's just maybe getting in shape. Maybe that's just running a marathon. It could be a physical goal, a financial goal, but as long as it's a goal, something that you can see your mind to and something that you can actually go towards getting better. For me, for example, the one thing that I attached my goal to was I needed to recover from ACL surgery. And when I came out of surgery, I couldn't walk for 3 weeks and I lost a lot of muscle. So the main goal that I set myself was, okay, I'm just going to try to get as jacked as possible. I'm going to try build back the muscle that I lost and recover from my surgery. And that what was constantly going on my head throughout that whole process. And so it kind of kept me going, because think about it like this. You wouldn't get in a car if you didn't know where it was going. If a taxi came out to you and it was like, hey man, let's get in. I'm going to take you somewhere. But you didn't know where you were going. What's the point in that? It's like the same thing with approaching life. If you don't have a goal with where you're kind of going, you're kind of just drifting along, not knowing what to do. That was me for a while. For me, I didn't have a tangible thing that I could attach an outcome to. I was just drifting and I didn't have a clear direction where I could take myself. And I think it's so important just to have, even if it's just a small thing, but when you attach a goal or when you see yourself a task that you can do, it rewires your brain to just think straightforward. So you don't need to worry about doing X, Y, Z or doing crazy things. And you can go away from feeling unproductive and you just do that thing, whether that could be getting in shape or finishing a book in a week. Constantly be setting yourself a goal, or if they're small goals or a big goal, have something that you can work towards on a day-to-day basis that is going to push you to just get after it and not have no direction. Because the one thing that will keep you in the rut is that you don't have direction. You don't have a goal that you can work towards on a day-to-day basis. Because the one thing that I really want to push is momentum beats no momentum. If you think about a snowball going downhill, as soon as it starts pretty small. And it's obviously not going to be going as quick. And it won't be as fast and it won't be as big. But the more it rolls down the hill, it gets a bit bigger. It collects more snow. And it builds that momentum. And it's so large and it's so quick that it can't be stopped. And it's the same thing with getting a goal. You start small and you build yourself up to bigger goals and you keep chasing bigger things. And once you build that momentum with yourself, all of a sudden, you're unstoppable because you've built that trust with yourself and you can stick through with what you say. And it's so important just to start and set a goal and set a small goal and then build up to a bigger goal. So you build that momentum with yourself and you build that trust with yourself so you can actually go ahead and get it done. Actionable number 2 is change your environment. This one was pretty big for me as well because when I was in my rut, I was stuck in my room all day and being in my room wasn't helpful. It made me think in my brain, oh, this is where I just lay in my bed, this is where I scroll on my phone, and this is where I jerk the chicken, and this is where I just sit there and do nothing. And it's the same thing with you guys as well. If you're stuck in the same environment, that's what you're going to do. Like, it's another thing with the people you hang around as well. You've probably heard the saying, you're the average of the 5 people or the 3 people you hang around. And it's really true. If you're hanging around a really shady environment of people doing drugs, people going out and drinking all the time, and people just doing things that don't align with your goals or where you want to be, you're obviously going to result to being like those people. And it's the same thing with your environment. If you've got a really messy room or if you've got a really unsteady or uncontrolled environment, you're going to become like that. You're going to be messy, you're going to be unclean, and you might even start doing drugs or start resulting to the bad thing, which is not what we want. When we're on a rut, we want to change the environment, small cues and small changes that can really change how we view and how we act as a person. So it could be small things like changing a room, changing where you sleep, changing who you hang around, changing what you do in a week, changing where you go, just something tangible that you can literally change tomorrow and that you'll be in a different environment. So you're not used to that. So you can't go back to doing the same thing that old you would have been doing. For me, it was getting out of my room. I moved to another room. I started sleeping in there, and I started doing different things that I was doing. I stopped hanging out with friends as much. Not saying I have anything against my friends, but everyone was at university and I couldn't really hang out with everyone because everyone's doing their own thing. So for me, I just kind of stuck to my own thing, and I did my own thing, and it changed the environment for me, that I was able to work on myself, and I was able to create the person that I wanted to be, and I was able to bring myself out of the rut and set myself on a better path and build that momentum. As I said before, building that momentum has to be one of the most important things when it comes to getting out of the rut, because once you have that momentum in place, you're just going to keep going. And that's what we want. We don't want to go back in the rut. We want to build the momentum so we can just smash through life and smash through our goals. So number 2, change the environment, get something changed. It doesn't have to be big. It could be something small, like changing where you sleep, changing where you go for lunch, changing what you have for breakfast, changing the people you hang around, something that changes so you can change your environment and that you can change the person that you are in that new environment. So when you go into a new environment, you can start to be a different person and you can start to do different things. Now, actionable number 3 is you got to stack a win, and you got to find something that you can do tomorrow. Most people try to go from 0 to 100. They set this crazy goal of, I've got to do 2-hour workouts. I've got to run 10 kilometers. I've got to do such a crazy thing. And they don't do it because they try to go from 0 to 100. And all of a sudden they're like, damn, I'm not worth it. This thing's too hard for me. And they stay in the rut. It's really good to be realistic with the things. Obviously, you shoot for the moon and set a high goal, but do something you can do tomorrow, whether it could be reading 10 pages or going to the gym for half an hour, walking for half an hour a day. It could be doing 25 push-ups. Set something that you can literally do today or tomorrow and that you can win, and that you can say to yourself, I did that. Because that's the most important thing. Starting and building that momentum, as I've said previously, is so important, because once you get started and once you build that momentum for yourself, it's just going to keep on snowballing, and it's going to become an effect, and it's going to compound, and it's going to compound, and you're going to look back from when you started and you're going to be like, damn, I did it. I got myself out of the rut. So it's so important to find something for yourself that you can do, that you can just smash. Preferably if it was something physical. If it's physical, you can just do it and you can get instant dopamine. Hit a workout, go on a run, do some cardio, lift some weights. It doesn't have to be something crazy, but something that you can literally go and do tomorrow and that you're going to get instant reward from, and you're going to get stack of win as soon as you do it. Those are the 3 steps I encourage you to do if you're currently stuck in a rut. And in doing these 3 steps in order or all together will ultimately help you get out of the rut and start you on a path to becoming the person that you want to become. And I know how it feels. It sucks. It sucks to be stuck in the position that you are and to not like who you are and to be annoyed at all the habits you've done. I remember when I was in my bed and I scrolled for like 5 hours and I'm like, holy shit, I am such a loser. And it sucks. And it's only when you start building that momentum with yourself and building that trust with yourself that you actually start to get out of the rut. And as I said, so many people try to go from 0 to 100. They try to go from doing something they've never done before, and they go from doing something like so small to something they've never done before. And they're like, of course they're going to get burnt out. Of course they're not going to go through with it because it's so crazy. So it's like stacking those small wins, finding a goal, and changing your environment that's ultimately going to get you out of the rut. And the one thing that I really want to preach is you might be in a rut in the future. You might get out of the rut and you might fall back into one. That's normal, because then you can usually come back to this video and you've got all these 3 steps to get yourself out of the rut. Don't expect that once you're out of the rut, you're going to be out of there forever. I'm not thinking negatively here, but thinking realistic. Maybe you hit a roadblock in your life, or maybe you get a divorce, or maybe your partner leaves you and you're like, damn, I'm kind of stuck right now. So it's just about taking a step back and setting goals and finding a purpose with the way you can approach everything, because it's so important that you live a life with purpose and fulfillment and a goal set life. Because if you're just drifting around without any purpose or attachment or any path you can approach life, it's not going to be a life worth living, and it's not going to be something where you can look back at yourself at the end of the day and you can say you're proud of what you've done. So that's the only thing that I'm really going to push here, is set a goal, find a goal for yourself that you can start doing tomorrow, change the environment so you can start becoming a different person in that new environment, and set a win that you can go and crush tomorrow. That's 4. Hold up. 3. Stack a win and do something tomorrow that's going to start building that momentum for you, because as I've said throughout this entire video, momentum has to be the most important thing when it comes to getting out of a rut and becoming the person that you want to become. Okay, that's pretty much the video today on how to get out of a rut. I appreciate you guys watching the video, and please like and subscribe to the channel. It's going to support me a lot, because my main goal is to help as many of you guys as possible. I know how much it sucks to suck, and I want to change people's lives, and I'm going to do everything I can to get there. So make sure you like, subscribe, help the algorithm out. But yeah, that's pretty much wraps on today's video on how to get out of a rut. And I hope that you can get yourself out of the rut and that you can use the steps that I gave you to help your life and to help set you on the right path. But without further ado, thanks for watching the video and take care.